Hey folks, just wanted to hop out here and talk about the Pokemon Champions new reveal during the Pokemon Presents that happened today. There are a few things that are pretty interesting that I just want to talk about and comment on when it comes to competitive Pokemon and VGC. So this stuff we already know about. But the new stuff that came out is the renting, the recruiting as they like to call it, but it's pretty much just using like a rental and then you can actually get it for an unlimited period of time, which is pretty neat that they have Pokemon in there that you can just have if you can't connect it to home or if you just want to hop in there. We only get to see how many is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Pokemon. There's a couple more. What is it? We saw Garchomp, Hydreigon. We also saw Dondozo in the initial release and Aegislash. So there's a few more Pokemon that we know are going to be in the game. But what I really want to talk about is the training your Pokemon. Now, this is something I realize in real time. You know, they're kind of reworking the EVs and IVs thing here. But the thing that I find most exciting about it is that it's 32, right? People were thinking it was IVs during the release. It's not IVs at all. It's still the EVs, because if you 8 times 31, that's 248, plus the initial 4 that you put in gives you 1 base stat point for any of your stats. So that's where the 32 comes from. But then the last one is 2. So I think you either get an extra base stat point or it's just rounding up that extra 2 points that you don't have. Because if you go in Showdown, there's always one stat where if you do 252, 252, one's going to have 4, but in reality, there's 2 more points that you can use, but they just don't do anything. So maybe that's what it is. But here with the VP, as you can see, it's 64 VP victory points to do anything to max, right? Now, it doesn't look like you're going to be able to do IVs, but what is that? 64 plus 64 is 128. To max out a Pokemon, plus an extra 4, so let's say 130, 132. So for a full team, that's like 600, 700, like a little over 800, I think, maybe. That's not including moves, but just to fully spec a team out. Now, another thing that I realized is really interesting here is the percentages right here. You can see the percentages of health that your opponent has left. Before, we've never had that. You only get that on Showdown. You can see, oh, you did 65% on a move, right? Now there's a lot of guesswork that's taken out with that, which I find really interesting, because if this is going to be the official VGC like format, or even something that's like VGC primarily adjacent, which it definitely is, it's going to make things a lot more interesting, especially when it comes to chip damage with Rocky Helmet, burn, toxic, poison. You know, you can really do the math, because I know a lot of top VGC players or just people who are trying to get better at the game, they take notes and they'll be like, oh, you know, my Drain Punch, my Iron Hands Drain Punch did about, I don't know, let's say 35% roughly to my opponent's Urshifu. Where now that guesswork is taken out. Now you can be like, oh, you know, I'm doing, 45 a hit, so it's going to be a guaranteed 3-hit knockout unless you low roll, right? Which that's another thing. You can tell when you low roll and high roll. Of course, you can always do the calcs and be like, okay, this is what it is. But now you can kind of really suss out like your opponent's stats and things like that when it comes to percentages and their defense. Let's see here. Oh, one thing I really wanted to show, right? So the in-game timer, 9 minutes and 57 seconds. I thought maybe that's only for singles, but I went back and I checked for the double battle in the video. It's still 10 minutes. Our match timer, I think, before for singles or for doubles for ranked battles in Scarlet Violet is 15 minutes, right? I know before, like, what was it, Gen 6, you had like a whole 30 minutes for like the entire match, but now like your time is straight up 10 minutes. I think it's always been like that, but it's nice to see that you can like actually see it now instead of popping up where it's like match timer at 5 minutes. So that's something that you can really get, because now you have like the in-game match timer and your timer. And I think, yeah, it was 15 minutes, so they did drop it down to 10. They dropped it by 5. So maybe stall might be something that's like a prevalent thing more, where you can just play the timer. I mean, that's going to be boring as hell to do, I imagine, with the limited move pool of Pokemon. But another thing, oh, there was something else cool I wanted to see. Yeah, right here, Moonblast. This is extremely effective. It's no longer just super effective. Extremely effective is when it's quad, when something is quad weak to your attack, which I think that's a nice touch, because maybe not a lot of people know that Hydreigon, Dark, and Dragon is 4 times weak to this Moonblast that Hydreigon's just going to get nuked. And then there's one more thing. Right here. VP cannot be directly purchased. It's an in-game currency, so there's no microtransactions for the VP. I think everybody, myself included, was thinking there had to be some sort of microtransaction, and I think the only microtransactions that will occur are maybe for cosmetics, but I imagine if you're buying any cosmetics, it's for VP. So maybe you do it, I was talking with a friend of mine, that the boxes, right? Because Pokemon Home, you get 30 spaces for free, and then if you want like unlimited space, you have to pay like a subscription. Maybe there's like a thing where you pay for more box space because you're connecting from Pokemon Home. So that's something that I really think will be really interesting with Champions. Now, overall, I think the game looks fine. I mean, we can watch some of the gameplay here. Like the animations, it just looks like, you know, Gen 9 sprites, Gen 9 animations. You know, it just looks ripped straight out of Scarlet Violet. But the training's very interesting. Especially, let's see here. Oh, no. So the battles here, you know, this is just straight up like VGC, you know, oh, you're playing singles, just select 3. With the Pokemon that are available, there are no legendaries. I imagine there might be legendaries, but here we can see what's available. We got a Rangaroo, which that's something I want to talk about real quick. It looks like they already had some team compositions in mind, like a Rangaroo and Sinasha. You can run a Trick Room team there. You have some bulky steel types. You have Incineroar, which, I mean, yeah, you can't play competitive without Incineroar. But they also have like Hisuian, a Basculegion, which was pretty strong in Rain, and Archaludon, which they were really strong in, what was it, Reg, A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Or was it H? I think it was G. Yeah, Reg G, when they took away like all the legendaries. You know, this is a pretty strong team core, and now they're adding it in, which there is no Rain setter, so I imagine Pelipper's probably going to have to be in here, or maybe something with Prankster that gets Rain Dance, or else this just doesn't really make a lot of sense. Maybe this is just the Pokemon you start out with, and then you can like rent more. Then, of course, we see Hydreigon, and we get Saw Superior, we got Dragapult, Sylveon. Oh. And then here we go. We got more of the training here. This honestly, like, I don't think you have to spend anything to lower it. Let me play the video.
Teach your Pokemon
okay, I guess we'll never know. Yeah. But I don't think you have to spend anything to lower it, and I don't think these are costs here. I think this is the PP, the Pokepower. So maybe like just changing moves is like just gonna cost you 100 every time. Because I think I saw that in Gardevoir. Yeah, just cost you 100 every time, which not terrible, honestly. What is it? I think overall with Gardevoir it took. There's a screenshot here. Yeah, 764 if you want to do the stat alignment, which they made it only Sirius's. They took away the other neutral natures, so pretty funny to me. But it's really nice that you can just edit anything you want. So I think it's something that a lot of people are gonna be able to get into, like VGC or just, you know, even casual battling. Because it's going to be on mobile as well, on top of Switch. Now that's another thing I'm wondering about if it does, because it's coming out sometime next year. I saw a leak said January of next year. I don't know how true it is. It would be nice. The sooner the better. It would be pretty hype that it comes out sooner rather than later. But I mean, if this is going to be something that we're pivoting towards, I mean, I'm all for it. This should be exciting. You know, you still have to play the other games to really get like the full experience of all the Pokemon, but outside of IV editing, it's just gonna be really easy to like build a team. Like you just got these points, and I hope they're very generous with the points, because I believe at the bottom it says you can gain it through ranked battles and other places in Pokemon Champions. So that really makes me think it might be like a battle tower or battle frontier sort of thing, where like there's like different kinds of modes, but think like Gen 7 Battle Tree, Gen 6 the Battle Maison, Gen 8, you know, you have the tower. Gen 9, there's really not anything like that except for like just battling people, you get league points, which is pretty much the same thing. So maybe because Home connects to it, the same way Pokemon Bank did, you get battle points and transfer them into different games. Maybe you could do the same thing and like, oh, I have like 1,000,000 league points in Pokemon Scarlet Violet. I can transfer that into 100,000 into Pokemon Champions. That's just me spitballing here, but I imagine there would have to be something going on like that, especially with like each Pokemon being 1,000 and then you got to train it. But I imagine it's going to be a lot easier. I'm not going to go ahead and just like, oh my gosh, look at this crazy thing and speak it as truth. I'm just like speaking my thoughts here. But just one more thing I want to talk about. Look in the background of all these people here. If you can see them here, go back and watch the video if you can. They're just like they're like clay faces. There's no expression there. It's just funny to me because like clearly it's still probably work in progress. I hope this isn't the final thing. I hope they add actual like character faces like they did in Gen 8, because it really feels like they this feels like Gen 8 with like the giant stadium. And I imagine, I mean, we didn't see, oh, one more thing I want to talk about. I keep saying that. But we didn't see, like, in the boxes. Maybe I'll get a better thing here. No, let me go here then. In the boxes, like, when we saw, like, Gardevoir stats and everything, like, when they, oh, no, go back a little bit more. Go just a little bit more. Yeah, right here. So the infinity symbol, that just means how long you have the Pokemon for. There are held items. You just don't see it like on the screen like you would in like other Switch Pokemon games. You have the abilities, all the stats and everything. Nothing you can really see the IVs with yet, but usually there's like a judge function down here. So maybe they're all just perfect or whatever you transfer them in. I don't know. I didn't make the game. But when it comes to the Terras, right? That's something in Scarlet Violet. Like you'll see like the Terra type up here somewhere. We know Terras are confirmed, and so are Mega Evolutions. And I imagine if there's held items, maybe Z moves might make a play, might come in there somehow. And I imagine a lot of the held items you probably have to use the victory points for, which no big deal. Like I said, if it's just like the Battle Tower and Battle Frontier style, you just need to make BP points, which I can't imagine they'll make it too expensive, you know, the barrier for entry too high. But when it comes to the Terras, I wonder if you just have to spend VP points to like, okay, here you go. I want to make our Chaladon, you know, Grass Terra to cover for my ground type weakness, you know? Something like that. Then the Evolution Stones, I guess, just held item. But that's another thing I didn't see in the battles. Like when you see like the battle option, right? When it's like, oh, do you want to battle or do you want to run? Like the run button's up here now instead of being like down here.
Take on thrilling matches.
I'll go back.
Single
Oh,
battles
there we go. It was just there. Can I scrub through it? Can I scrub through it real quick?
than ever before.
Here we go. It's going to pop up in 3, 2, 1. I got to have lightning hands. Nope, not yet. Oh, right there. Okay, anyway, right there as you barely saw it. Oh, dude, can I like go backwards a little bit? How do I? Whatever. It went way too fast. But there we go, right here. Usually there's like an option to Mega or Terra or something. Like when you go to the move selections, that's usually when I think it pops up, but there's nothing there yet. So imagine, like I said, they'll show us more eventually, but not yet. But my big favorite thing, honestly, is the percentages. That's going to be huge, both for you and your opponent, because now you know exactly how much you're doing. Maybe you could be like, oh, I did about, 60%, when in reality, you only did about 57, which I know that's not a big deal, but sometimes the extra percentages when it comes to damage do make a difference, because sometimes you'll be like, oh, is this a 2-hit knockout? And it ends up not being, and you kind of lose the game, or like the whole time you're thinking like, oh, I'm not going to KO, but you really do. It's really one of those things. Anyway, these are just my thoughts, my opinions. I do like the Pokemon they give us, because it does seem like there's going to be some decent cores to work with here. I mean, go back. Oh my gosh. Just based off the boxes they give us, I mean, I like right here. You could build like for Reg A for Scarlet Violet, even without Terras, like Hydreigon, pretty strong. We saw Talonflame. You get Talonflame in there, a strong Tailwind setter. Put in next to Garchomp with like Choice Band and Rock Slide. I think you're just cooking. Put Incineroar on the team. He's always good on any team. Maybe like Sinastcha. Like you can make some pretty viable competitive teams based off this. If we're doing just like no Terras, even with Terras, but assuming like Gen 9 stats. Anything else, it's really iffy. But we're really only seeing what we saw in Gen 9 competitive. But some of these like have megas like Gardevoir, Scizor, Garchomp. I don't think any of these others have megas yet. Mega Metagross has mega. But yeah, these are just my thoughts. Comment down below. Tell me what you think, what you're most excited for Pokemon Champions. Like I said, this was just off the cuff. I just wanted to talk about it real quick. Some fun stuff going on here. I personally, I can't wait for Champions. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to free up the main series if they make this for just like competitive to the main series to do whatever it wants. But yeah, thank you for watching again. Comment and like the video. Subscribe if you want. I'm definitely gonna have a lot of Pokemon related content coming out soon. I'm just it's a dry spell right now. Not too much crazy stuff going on here. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching.